A high-value man. Tyrone and Chad. The first Tyrone. Video number 14. Before we start, this is for people living in the United States. I put this in the front of all my videos that are in English because I want to help people with their student loans. I know many people think, feel, or believe that they will never pay off their student loans. Yes, they are right. They are correct. There are over 2 million people over the age of 60 that are still paying off their student loans. There is a federal law that was passed in the 80s that will get rid of all your student loans in 25 years. The link to this video is at the top of this video, in the description below, and will be at the end of this video. Many people think that Black American neighborhoods are not safe. People believe that my community is filled with guns, drug dealers, and the majority of Black people are poor. All of this is not true. Black American neighborhoods are a good place to have a family and raise children. This is another typical or common Black or African American neighborhood. This street is Spalding Avenue in Markham, Illinois. It might look rural, but this town is next to the city of Chicago. It is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home, which cost $160,000. I have watched a lot of videos about dating, marriage, women, men, and all that stuff. Many of them mention Tyrone and Chad. I know people say the expression Tyrone and Chad to describe a group of men that fall into the same category. Men that earn over 6 figures, who beautiful women chase or pursue, and is considered a high-value man. I think the first recorded Tyrone or Chad was Casanova. Since most people know of Casanova, I will not go into his history. Thus, there has been a Tyrone or a Chad throughout history. The thing about legends is that they all come from somewhere. The legend only has a small amount of the truth or the real story. The true or real story is nowhere near as dramatic as the legend. I ask the question: why do people not use the names Byron, Lavawn, or Laval to describe a Black Casanova? Maybe there was a real Tyrone. This video is about the first, the true, or real Tyrone that started the expression. However, I know I am 100% wrong, but I think it makes for a good story. I do not know anything about Chad, but I know all about Tyrone and where Tyrone came from. Tyrone told me he was born in 1964, but his government record said that he was born in 1963, which meant he was held back 2 years in school. So yes, I am talking about a real person. This is a true story. Tyrone was not a good-looking man, he was a skinny man, and had no muscles. Yet, some of the women he was able to get were beautiful. Most were not. If Hugh Hefner, the owner of Playboy, were just another 80-year-old man collecting a pension, then he would not have beautiful 19 and 20-year-old girls chasing him. Thus, every man can be a Tyrone or a Chad. Tyrone knows how to look like a high-value man. He drives a nice car and dresses like he has money. However, all of it is fake, but Tyrone knows he just has to look the part, because he knows that as long as he looks the part, most women will assume the rest. Plus, most women do not know anything about men's fashion. Women do not care about men's fashion, which is why you can get most of your clothes at Walmart. As long as the shirt has a collar, then most women will not know what you are wearing comes from a discount store. What I learned from Tyrone is that one of the secrets to attracting women is to wear a shirt with a collar. A shirt with a collar that has long sleeves is best. So, change your profile pictures to you wearing only shirts that have a collar. When I stopped doing college sports and started to wear shirts with a collar, I had girls in college chasing or hunting me down. Girls who I had never met before but would just happen to run into on my dorm floor. All of them were white girls. However, most smart women were not fooled or bamboozled. Most smart women could see right away that Tyrone was a liar, a con man, a person that could not be trusted. If women do ask Tyrone any question about his job, education, or family, Tyrone does not tell the women about his real job, his real education, or his real family. Instead, Tyrone tells them about one of his friends' jobs, education, and family. Then Tyrone pretends that the life he is talking about is his life. Thus, Tyrone steals another person's life story. It is hard to remember a lie and keep track of all the lies you tell people. I do not want you to think that Tyrone is a special case. Tyrone is just good at what he does. In high school, I knew a guy named Ron Fleming, who liked to hang out with the smart kids so that people would assume he was also smart. This is a picture of him. Ron would tell people he got a 32 out of a 36 on his college entrance exam. Yet, it took Ron 3 to 4 years to graduate from community college, and another 3 years to graduate from a university. Ron was the kind of person that would put you down to others while at the same time building himself up. All of which were based on lies. Some would say that only women conduct this kind of behavior, but now you know men also do it. Tyrone does the same thing. This is one of the methods Tyrone uses to get women. Ron was still doing this at the age of 32 years old. Thus, these kinds of people never change. If I ask you what was your favorite movie 20 years ago, you might not remember all of it, but you will remember the most important parts of the movie. Therefore, in the future, if someone asks Tyrone about his life, Tyrone does not have to remember any lie, or which lie he told. He just has to remember his friend Todd's life. Todd's job, Todd's education, and Todd's family. If people ask Tyrone about Todd, Tyrone would tell them stories about his own life, about Tyrone's life, but pretend he was talking about Todd's life. Now, you are wondering, where does Tyrone get the car and the clothes from? How can he look the part without money? Before I get into this part, I want to ask how many women ever visited Tyrone at his place, apartment, or house? Tyrone always does the deed at the woman's apartment, a hotel, or his friend's house. If the woman ever visits Tyrone out of the blue, an unexpected visit, she will discover that Tyrone does not live there, or discover Tyrone's wife, kids, or mother-in-law, where the mother-in-law is paying all of the bills. Tyrone is good at lying, and when I look back, Tyrone was lying from the day we met, at age 15 years old. Thus, over the years, and with a lot of practice, his lies did not get better, but how he told his lies that got better. Tyrone learned that most of the time, it is not what you say, but how you say it. However, Tyrone had the problem that the older people got, the faster we could see the lies. When Tyrone was young, he got most of his cars and clothes from his brothers, cousin, and friends. Tyrone never purchased anything using his own money, because he never had any money. He never truly worked. Since we all were, or basically Tyrone's family, he had access to all of our social security numbers, and driver's license numbers. Therefore, without our knowledge, Tyrone got cars in all our names, and never paid the bill. Since we were family, Tyrone knew that we would never think it was him, none of us would call the police on him, or by the time we found out, it would be too late to do anything. When Tyrone's brother was in the army, Tyrone got 2 cars in his brother's name. His brother did not discover this until he got out of the army years later, and discovered that no car dealer would sell him a car because of 2 repossessions. I called the police on Tyrone. The problem was that back in the 80s, there were no laws regarding identity theft. However, Tyrone got arrested and convicted within 6 months after he graduated high school, and he never reported to his probation officer. Because of this, the police had warrants for his arrest. Thus, Tyrone was a convicted criminal at the age of 19 years old, and went to prison at the age of 51 years old. Therefore, all of his life, Tyrone has always been a con man, a liar, a criminal. Probation is when you get convicted of a crime but do not spend time in prison. Parole is when you are convicted of a crime and spend time in prison. Thus, a person can be convicted of many crimes at the same time, and this can result in being on federal probation and state parole. After all of this, Tyrone no longer had access to any of our personal information. Therefore, Tyrone used his knowledge of Todd's education to get jobs working at car dealerships' finance department. Remember, Tyrone is a very good liar and had years of practice. So he knew how to win people's trust. Therefore, the car dealership would sometimes allow Tyrone to drive some of their expensive cars home. However, the biggest prize, or greatest benefit of working at a car dealership, was the fact that Tyrone now had access to everyone who had good credit, social security numbers, and driver's license numbers. I think Tyrone got arrested and convicted of this 3 times. However, he never went to prison because of it. Therefore, Tyrone never stopped getting jobs at car dealerships. The dealerships got smart and told all the other dealerships in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Since Tyrone no longer had access to his family, friends, or a car dealership, he now had to scam or rip off people directly. For the following situation, none of us have any proof. However, after talking to a few people, the only thing in common with this situation was Tyrone. It was not until I talked to a few people who told me that they were at a bar drinking with Tyrone, and the next thing they remembered was waking up at home. Tyrone attempted to do this to me, but the drug he used was not fully dissolved in my drink. At the time, I never thought it was him. Tyrone does this to get your social security number and driver's license number, then he can get credit in your name and purchase anything he wants. Now, I do not think that Tyrone is stupid enough to take advantage of a woman in this kind of way, but you never know what a person will do. I do know one thing, which is that 100% of the time, if the woman is not sure if anything happened, she will not report it. If the woman knows that something did happen, then most of the time, she will not report it because she will blame herself, or feel embarrassed. Then by the time she wants to report it, she has washed away all the evidence. Plus, some women are so emotionally hurt that by the time she wants to report it, she has washed away all the evidence. The men that do this kind of thing are good at hiding who they truly are. It is never the man that you think will do it. Another method Tyrone used would be to start a relationship with other women. Some of these other women he would marry while still being married to his first wife. Back in the 80s, Tyrone did this to this one girl and got away with it for 8 months. The girl was not just beautiful, but she was also freaking hot. Thus, Tyrone knew what to say and look like to get a beautiful woman. Like I keep saying, you do not have to be a good-looking man to be a Tyrone or a Chad. You just have to look the part. I ran into the girl at court. She was looking for Tyrone. She met a new guy and wanted to get married, but first, she had to divorce Tyrone. However, she could not find Tyrone's marriage license to his first wife. She has to prove in court that Tyrone was married to another woman while he was married to her. We discovered later that Tyrone used his middle name on the marriage license, and this is why the government never figured out that he was still married to his first wife when he married this girl. She told me what happened and asked me how was Tyrone driving such a nice car at the time she met him. I told her what Tyrone said to me at that time, his best man at his first wedding, that his car was in the shop and he needed a car for a few days to get to work. So I rented him a car on my credit card. How Tyrone got away with being married to 2 women at the same time, was that Tyrone told the girl that he had to go back to Southern Illinois University, which is a 6-hour drive from Chicago. Since the girl was finishing her college degree in Chicago, she could not go with him. Tyrone told his wife that he had a job in Chicago that he worked on the weekends. Thus, during the weekdays, Tyrone was at Southern Illinois University with his wife and kids, and during the weekends, Tyrone was in Chicago with his other wife. Tyrone's first wife found out and went to the girl's house, screaming at the girl for attempting to steal her man, and all of that stuff. Tyrone's first wife had Tyrone arrested for bigamy, but later dropped it. Tyrone and his first wife stayed married for 10 years afterward, after 3 STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, and multiple other women. As I was saying, since Tyrone no longer had access to his family, friends, or a car dealership, he now had to scam or rip off regular people directly. Some of these people called the police, and Tyrone finally went to prison. Tyrone never went to prison in the past because he knew how to work the system. After Tyrone got out of prison, he thought that enough time had passed, over 30 years, that we could now be friends again. So this was when he came to my house and we talked. Tyrone had 2 problems. Problem number 1 is the fact that a lot of people hate him. People who Tyrone hardly knew, but knew of his deeds, and they also knew we were best friends at one time. So they all were telling me stuff over the years about Tyrone. So when Tyrone was talking, I knew that everything he was saying was a lie. Plus, Tyrone was lying about stuff he knew I knew about. I guess he forgot who he was talking to. I knew he never finished his freshman year of college, and that he got arrested and convicted within 6 months after graduating from high school. When Tyrone committed identity theft on me, he had outstanding warrants. The police had been looking for him for years. Problem number 2 was that his visit caused me to review all the time since we first met, since I was 15 years old. Now, since I am older, I now realize all of his lies. I now know that at the age of 15 years old, Tyrone has always been a person of very low morals, a criminal, and a liar. I believe Tyrone is a narcissist. What all narcissists do is steal or take a person's self-worth or what some call self-esteem. Narcissists needs to always feel good about themselves. Narcissists achieve this by taking your time, money, or building themselves up, while at the same time, putting you down or attempting to destroy your self-worth or self-esteem. Since Tyrone no longer had his cousin Sean as his supply, he needs a new supply. Tyrone stole over $10,000 from his cousin Sean. His cousin, which was Tyrone's only friend, was the only person who allowed Tyrone to stay with him when Tyrone got out of prison. So now Tyrone no longer had a friend. Yet, Tyrone said that his cousin Sean stole the money from him. Tyrone. Sean never been arrested. Sean never went to prison. These kinds of people never change, cannot change. What amazes me about narcissists is that they all think that what they did was no big deal. However, this is part of them living in the fantasy world they created for themselves. What is truly amazing, astonishing is that they are the greatest liars in the world. I sat there and watched Ron's and Tyrone's body language, and I listened to the tone of their voice, and they are believable. You want to feel sorry for them. I knew everything they were saying was a lie, but I still felt kind of sorry for them. This is why narcissists knows how to become your best friend, best girlfriend, or the best employee. Tyrone said that his children did not even get him a Father's Day card. Tyrone said that he gave his children everything, and that he did everything for his children. Here is a story Tyrone told me decades ago. I was living in North Carolina at this time, but when I came back to Chicago, Tyrone told me this story. Tyrone and Teresa just had their first baby. There was food in the house, but the baby only had enough food for one more day, and they only had enough money to purchase baby food. Tyrone did not work, and it would be another 5 days until Teresa got paid. Tyrone took the money, the only money they had, went to the bars, and had a good time. He came home kind of drunk, and went to bed. In the middle of the night, Teresa woke Tyrone. Tyrone found himself tied up in such a way, that the more he moved, the tighter the rope got around his neck. Needless to say, Tyrone never did this again. At the time, Tyrone and I both laughed about it. It was funny. What I did not realize at the time was that if a person is willing to do this to his own child, then there is no one he will not betray. These kinds of people, who are called narcissists, do not care about anything or anyone, not even their own children. The only thing they care about is people not discovering the truth of who they are. Plus, there are 4 different types of narcissists, and some people are more narcissistic compared to other people who are narcissists. The problem with narcissists is that they are very good at making you think they are the best friend, the best girlfriend, the best boyfriend, or the best employee. They are very good at lying and manipulating. So do not feel bad if you were in one of these kinds of relationships. It was not your fault. You are not dumb. You are not stupid. Now if Tyrone can get a beautiful woman, then anyone can. I said that his second wife was hot, she had it all, face and body. Tyrone's first wife was named Teresa, and she was elegant and beautiful. None of us know why she picked Tyrone. She had better men that wanted her, men that had good jobs, and were highly educated, but she wanted Tyrone. I think the other men were too nice. For all the women, if you say a man is too nice, and you pick the other guy, now you know what you will get if you married one of the other men. Things do not get better, they only get worse, and you will eventually get a divorce. This is a high school picture of Tyrone. However, today, he uses the name of Taiwan instead of Tyrone. He graduated high school in 1983, but he got his picture into the 1982 graduation class photos. This proves that he was a con man and a liar back when he was 17 years old. I am sorry, I mean 18 years old. He was born in 1963, not 1964, which means that he should have graduated high school in 1981 and not 1983. Thank you for watching. Please click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video. For all my foreign viewers, most translation software is not 100% accurate. So, sorry about any mistakes. For a free copy of my music, go to my website. Remember, my music is only background music. Right now, my music is free, but if I have to start paying for extra services, then I might have to set a price for a download. If you want to know how to create your own music, then go to my other YouTube channel and look for the word GarageBand. Creating your own music is easy. I did it and I cannot play a musical instrument. If you want to know how to translate a video into other languages, then go to my other YouTube channel and look for the word translate. The links are in the description below.